You're doing fantastic. Back. A low diagonal. Side. Now heel. 1, 2, 3, and 2 hard. These are for you. Side. Now lift and lift. Side. And lift. Now come up and open arm. Take it up. Snake back. And 2 hard. Now do it again. Hello?
Richard, you're going to get shot. Don't do that. Come here. You know, Richard is a fitness guru. I know. That's why he has his little guru outfit on. Richard collects Dalmatians.
I have 6 Dalmatians.
What do you think his house smells like? Oh, yeah, I would think so. There's probably dog hair on everything.
He's starting. Hello?
He's even squirrelier than I thought. You know, by the way, he was bothering Barbara Streisand. Did you hear about this?
I'm totally serious about this.
Let me finish.
David ruined my chances of ever meeting Barbara, and I waited 30 years.
Richard, your ass is hanging out of those shorts.
David, stop it.
Richard Simmons, everybody. Richard Simmons.
Please climb that tree and get me a coconut.
Somebody big just died. Fitness guru Richard Simmons is dead at 76 years old. And here to help eulogize him is my friend Mike North. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, Joe. I mean, I had trouble making it through the open of Richard Simmons, okay? First of all, tonight we're doing a doubleheader, folks. We're going to have Richard Simmons first, and then we're going to have Shannen Doherty second. We also have 2 honorable mentions. They weren't big enough, and we'll explain why later on. Shelley Duvall, okay, and Dr. Ruth.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I had to make some tough decisions here. Could all 4 of them have made it? Yeah. Could all 4 of them have been knocked out? Yeah, maybe. Because none of them, and this is one of the few times that I've done somebody big just died, none of them I'm particularly enamored with or ever was enamored with. So that's not what this show's about, though. I know greatness, whether I like greatness or not. I know very good, whether I think they're very good or not. So I took 2 people that whenever, well, one has a personal connection. I'll tell you about her later on. But this guy, if I'd be flipping, even though I say I wasn't crazy about the guy, I would stop and to see what antics he was up to, because he was basically a shy guy, an introvert, and you'd never know it by the way he was. But first, let's get the business out of the way. We haven't seen these guys for a while, and it's good to be back.
We're back, baby.
We're back big. You know, Joe's got another baby coming, so I mean, him and his lovely bride. Yeah, we got to get cribs. You know, maybe more than one now. I think I had 1 crib. I think I was in a dresser drawer. Now they got cribs in every room. You know what I mean?
You know it.
They got alarm systems. If you're choking, doctors ascend through drones and parachutes through ceilings. It's crazy. But we're back. And Cumberland Chapels, ladies and gentlemen, has never left, and they better not ever leave. They're the best that you would want out of any funeral home. Cumberland Chapels, it sounds warm, but then they add on the funeral home at the end. And that's what it's all about. Years and years of dealing with wonderful people. People that have a momentary, tragic type of situation. Sure, they'll heal from it. But planning it's hard. Getting it together is hard. That's why you have the folks at Cumberland Chapels. That's why you have the Lupos. That's why you have the Martinos. That's why you have their wonderful staff there. Plenty of parking, plenty of places you can park over there. They have 4 or 5 chapels there. It's an outstanding place. Make sure you check it out there on Lawrence Avenue, 8300 Norwich, Illinois, 708-456-8300. Now, and check them out at CumberlandChapels.com. Also, we have Pennyville Station. And Tony Antonacci and Tino Antonacci, longtime restaurateur type figures. Tino, the ambassador of restaurants in Chicago and the northern suburbs, ladies and gentlemen. Look how pretty that place is. They're going to be expanding to another place soon. But that place is as good as it gets. I've been there 4 or 5 times already. Hope to get out there real quick again. They got the, it's not a beer garden. They just got an outdoor cafe type of situation there. It's just a beautiful place. It was introduced when they had, when COVID hit. They said, well, Park Ridge said, we'll help you out. You can expand out into the street. Well, now they've decided all those restaurants there, which is great, is going to be there. So
it's a hopping spot, Mike.
Oh, it's a hot spot, baby. It's a hot spot. So, and speaking of hot, yeah. Oh, by the way, 112 Main Street in Park Ridge. Richard Simmons was as hot as it gets, but he was sort of like, to me, how would you say? Sometimes he was uncomfortable. Okay.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
All right. I don't mind. I don't care what persuasion you are, but sometimes you can go a little bit over the top. But that was his act. I didn't care, but he did once in a while make it like this picture. Makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Okay. But he was born Milton Teagle Simmons, July 12th. Look at that. I'm not supposed to be uncomfortable, but he was an entertainer. And he was born in New Orleans, and he died July 13th, 2024, born in July 12th. Basically, he was born July 12th, died July 13th.
Unbelievable.
76 years later, he was a Catholic kid. He became a practicing Catholic when he was in New Orleans. He became obese during his childhood, weighing as much at 15 as 182 pounds. That's a big boy.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, and when I say big, he was only like 5'7". So you tack the 180 on the 5, and you're only 15.
It's hard to believe that guy was ever obese.
Yeah, but
He's
he
a lanky dude.
He wasn't really cut. You know,
No.
He didn't look like he was in shape. You know what I mean? There he is, of course, an older guy, and he had some issues we'll talk about. I didn't know he looks every bit of over 70 there. Take it from a guy that's over 70. The purple don't help. But he became obese, and then he was an art student. He was in a couple movies as a kid. His first job in New Orleans was as a child selling pralines at Leah's Pralines. So he was I guess it started early. What can I tell you? You know
Sure.
what I mean? And he was an entertainer. He was a maitre d' in Beverly Hills.
I can see that.
Where he caught the bug. And he caught the bug about staying in shape and weight loss, developed his act. I got to be honest with you. He's got a ton of stuff. Okay. 95% of it is inconsequential. Okay. But he was on Letterman. He was on many shows. He had a place called Simmons, which was a restaurant. Now look at the ladies and the people in the far back. They're just dancing. They're not doing the exercise.
They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're just hanging out. He told him, you want to be on TV, just pretend you're doing something. And this is very particular, and he was a different type of exercise guru, not like a Jack LaLanne. Way back before Jack LaLanne, you had Vic Tanny, you had Bally's Health Fitness. Now, this guy was in between. He was more entertaining, okay? He kept over 100 pounds off for 42 years. It's not easy. Now, I lost about 30 pounds over the last couple of years, and I've kept it off. Because the worst thing you could do is get on a diet, work your ass off, lose all that weight. Well, he's a dog lover, and look at that, Dalmatians. He had to love it. He had 2 maids, lived in a mansion, lived good, lived in Malibu, lived in Beverly Hills. Him and Letterman had a falling out for about 6 years because Letterman, I guess, humiliated him by shooting a fire extinguisher at him after Simmons went to hug him. They didn't talk for 6 years. So he had a little bit of a temper, no doubt about it. But he said his goal was not to live or love one person. He wanted to just spread himself out to all his fans. And he had a lot of devout fans. He was in with the media. The media loved him. He was a guest on shows like Rosie O'Donnell. He was a guest with Celine Dion, the Howard Stern show.
Yeah.
He resolved at one point future involvement after Stern repeatedly insulted him. He returned to the show several times, but it seemed like Letterman, Stern, some of these guys would get him on and not talk to him about what he was doing. They would just make fun of him. But you know what? He poked fun of himself too.
Oh, yeah.
But when they went over the line, you could tell. He had a YouTube channel. He had Twitter. He was active. But then he disappeared. There was
for like 10 years. He was gone. Poof.
Gone. Dude, just finished. And you'd see him at least once every week or once every 2 weeks. I sort of like the shocking pink tonight. Like the it looked pretty good. The hair's doing
looks good, Mike.
I feel good. Anyway, he was gone for 10 years. Now he was on General Hospital for 4 years, but he also used to answer his own phone, his own fan mail, hundreds of phone calls. He'd return them. He claimed to have very few friends. I don't have a lot to offer one person. I was telling Joe sooner or later, I have a lot to offer a lot of people. When the king gets depressed, he considered himself a court jester. That's what you do. You go out there and make the king laugh. Was very down on how the government got involved in his hometown, New Orleans, during Hurricane Katrina. But when he retired from public life.
Yep.
From like 2014 on.
Until recently. I mean, he had an interview that recently just surfaced where he talked about how he still talks with his fans via email and how he leaves the house, but he leaves the house in disguise.
Yeah. Other than that, he was normal. Okay.
Right.
Now he died of, they're saying, at home in Los Angeles. And the police said that his death appeared to be of natural causes. But he was spotted with another boyfriend. This is how Jane Fonda described it. Saw him out in Hollywood. He was squiring around a new boyfriend, okay? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm reading on later on. I don't know if you saw this. There is an active investigation on his death.
Yeah, they said his maid found him. And there were rumors for many, many years that his maid kept him hostage in his house. Hostage.
She had to be one heck of a hottie. Kept him hostage. Well, wait, that's like that's being married. Okay, there's no big deal about that. Okay, I've been hostage for we hold each other hostage. You better not leave. Don't walk out that door. You know how that goes.
Oh hey, yeah.
So. Yeah, he said he was hostage, and then he came on, and he would come on certain shows and tell or tweet something out that he wasn't, okay? Mm-hmm. He was followed by private detectives. I mean, there's some seediness. Didn't you read into this a little bit?
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm interested to see what comes out of the investigation.
Yeah, because all of a sudden I'm reading about an investigation from him, and that's pretty weird. So we'll see what happens with that. Look, the guy was a heck of an entertainer. No doubt about it. 76 years old, acted a lot younger than he did, have a lot of respect for what he did. Our condolences to his dogs, first of all.
Yeah.
And to his maids who held him hostage. His years active were 1968 to 2014. Graduate of University of Louisiana, Lafayette, and Florida State. Not a pretty smart guy. Great entrepreneur. Great entrepreneur. So
he knew his brand, Mike. He knew his brand.
He knew his brand. He knew what to do, even if it meant sometimes he had to go over the line, humiliate himself a little bit, go on these shows. He kept himself going. He was his own. And you're right, Joe. He was his own brand. So our condolences go out to all his friends and family, and to the folks that knew him out in New Orleans and stuff. So we're going to come up now. We're going to redo everything, Joe and I. That's Joe Mandel. I'm Mike North. We're going to replay the Open. We have Shannen Doherty coming up. And then we have 2 honorable mentions also, so stick with us.
According to Wikipedia. What I would do to go out with Dylan McKay. I don't know, everyone says he's trouble. Well, he can trouble me all he wants. Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Kelly. So you're Brandon's sister, huh?
Yeah, I'm Brandon's sister. Yeah, she's Brandon's sister.
Bye, girls.
He's so weird. Yeah.
Stay back. This is my fight.
On a lighter note, what's next for Brenda Walsh?
Well, tonight is our final performance at the Taper, so I'm thinking afterwards a glass of Chardonnay and a hot bath sounds about right. What about you two?
Oh, well, I was hoping to take this one to dinner.
Hello?
What do you say, Cal? Is tonight the night?
Hi. What's the matter? It's Dylan.
Hello?
Who's Dylan?
Sammy's dad.
Yeah.
Somebody big just died. Beverly Hills 90210 star Shannen Doherty is dead at 53 years old after a long battle with cancer. Mike North is here to deliver her eulogy. Mike, good to see you again, my friend.
It's great to see you. I just saw you a few minutes ago, big boy. We're ready to go again. First of all, let's get the sponsorships out of the way. We talked about them earlier on the other show, and now we're going to talk to you about this show. Okay, you can't do any of these shows without our sponsors. Okay, Cumberland Chapels is one of them. Cumberland Chapels takes care of everything you need. Eddie 300, West Lawrence Avenue in Norwich, Anthony Lupo, Senior Anthony Lupo, Junior the Martino guys. They get it done for you, serving families with dignity, grace, class, elegance. Yeah, you have to be elegant at a tough time sometimes, and that's what they do. They walk you through everything. They pick what's right for you. They help you through all the stuff that you need through a difficult time. So check them out. Cumberland Chapels. Yeah, look at it. Takes up the whole block. And it's just a great place. Plenty of parking, as you can see. 8300 West Lawrence Avenue, Norwich, Illinois, 60706. Then you have Pennyville Station. Whether you have small dinners you want to have, they have a private room. They have beautiful bar. They got a great menu, great place for singles to meet, great place for couples to go, great place for just people to mingle, have time. The food is outstanding. The drinks are tasty. So you got to go check them out at Pennyville Station, ladies and gentlemen, 112 Main Street, Park Ridge, Illinois. There's Tony Antonacci with my buddy Jesse Rogers. Some good times that we had there. Park Ridge, Illinois, 847-720-4841, right across from the railroad station. Shannen Doherty. I wasn't a fan of Beverly Hills 902.
No.
I think I might have to lean on you for that, Joe. Maybe you watched it. I'm sure you did. Did you not?
It was before my time, actually, Mike.
I wasn't, and it wasn't before my time. I've seen the worst and I've seen the best, but I never had an interest in what you know. I was just a little bit out of their demographic at the time. She started out as a child star, okay, and she did TV series such as Voyagers, Father Murphy. She was 11 years old when she started as Jenny Wilder on Little House on the Prairie. I remember her on that. She had a wonderful career. And Taken, I mean, you see the bravery, you see what's hit. 53 years old, and the age.
So young.
She was a lot younger looking, but there's no doubt you age when you go through that process. She was a beautiful lady. And the reason I picked Shannen out is because I knew Shannen somewhat personally for about an hour. Okay, now, before anybody jumps to conclusions, I was in Las Vegas with my buddy, okay? And we're walking through Caesar's Palace, okay? And we've been out, and we said, he says, my buddy liked to shoot craps. I wasn't that crazy about shooting craps, but he said,
I love craps, Mike.
I like 3-card poker. I like the card games. I like the sport book. But I like to watch him shoot the craps. I go over there, watch all the characters. I walk over, and there's a girl shooting craps with 4 shopping bags around her, looking stunning. She'd been out shopping. She was with another friend. She had like high boots on, short skirt, and she's throwing craps. So what was funny is I didn't even notice her. I noticed the shopping bags, but I didn't look up, and I don't watch the show all that much.
Sure.
And so I walk up to the table, and she's like throwing 2 feet from me. And some guy goes, hey, you know who that is? I go, she looks familiar, man. She's pretty good. She's a good-looking girl and stuff. Shannen Doherty. Well, I knew who that was right away. Because the one thing you didn't have to do, if you didn't watch Beverly Hills 90210, you were going to hear about it. You were going to hear about it. Whether I was working at the hot dog stand in 91 and 92 or at the Score, you heard about it.
It was a phenomenon.
They were on the cover of People magazine. They were on the cover of all these magazines. Her and this kid here was a stud, Luke Perry, which I just saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's dead. The 2 of them are gone. I mean, she had a fling, I guess, with Jason Patrick, who was also big shot on the show, and they were in their glory. I mean, you know, and what was cool was when I watched her shoot crap, she was talking to people naturally. She was just a natural girl. Oh, let's give me a good one here. Come on, guys, help me out. You know,
yeah.
She was having fun, and I started talking to her a little bit. You know, I watch her show. I don't watch all that much. She goes, to be honest with you, you're not missing all that much. She goes, she goes, we do the same thing almost every week with a different type of storyline. Well, I'd go out, check it out. But she was fun. She was talking to everybody. And I said, well, in honor of her being just a regular chick, in honor of her dying of something that women are scourged with.
Right.
Okay? We all have somebody in our families that's had some sort of problem with that, or most everybody. You can go by Lutheran General Hospital, and these hospitals, go by the clinic, and you'll see, okay? The waiting room is filled. And I felt bad when I heard about it, okay, that she was very, very sick. Now, she was very, very successful. And the thing that happened with Shannen, and let me just go over the particulars. Born April 12th, 1971, in Memphis, Tennessee, died July 13th at age 53 in Malibu.
Jeez.
Was married 3 times. Ashley Hamilton, Rick Salomon, and Kurt Azarenko. Now, She was married from 93 to 94 to Ashley Hamilton, 92 to 93 to Rick Solomon, and then she stayed married for 13 years until her death to this guy. But
did you hear about the last one? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Tell me about the last one. I thought I read some things. Go ahead.
She finalized the divorce with her husband, Kurt Izwaryenko, one day before she died.
Now,
that's nuts.
I'm trying to figure why she would do that. Do
Me?
you have any idea? I mean, is it something monetarily? Is it something that's disturbing? Because I didn't even see that. And why would she do that?
The only thing that it says here in the statement goes, the parties have entered into a written agreement regarding their property and marriage or domestic partnership rights, including spousal support, the original of which has been submitted to the court.
Wow. So that doesn't seem good for Kurt. You know what I mean? This whole thing.
I would imagine it's not a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. She was married briefly to Max Factor heir. Max Factor's huge, cosmetics and everything. Dean J. Factor. So she knew where the money is. Now she's an Irish girl, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You ever go out with an Irish girl?
I never have.
No. All I'm going to tell you is this. She was feisty. He had to file a restraining order on her.
Wow.
He alleged physical violence and threats on the part of Doherty, although Doherty's father claimed the abuse, it's a father, came from Factor, not her. But he's the one that basically filed, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She was married for just short times to these guys, okay?
Well, Rick Solomon, you know what he's famous for, right?
No.
He's famous for the Paris Hilton sex tape.
Oh, my God.
He's a poker player.
God bless him. God bless him. See, you know this stuff. See, it's good.
What I'm here for, Mike.
That's right. She was a registered Republican, according to Complex Magazine. I realize that the majority of people in the entertainment business happen to be Democrats. I have no problem with that. And they sure have no problem with me. But apparently they did. She also quit Beverly Hills going into her fourth year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't do a whole lot of anything. She had a reputation as a bad girl. She ended up, she had a feud with Alyssa Milano. And you know what? Alyssa Milano, there she is on the left.
Yep.
I can guarantee it was over politics. Alyssa Milano is a left-winger, and Shannen Doherty was a Republican. I'm sure they got it. I'm sure there was other things, maybe men being concerned or what have you. All right. She also was trying to find a gig, and then she got another gig with Charmed. My wife loves that show. I have never watched it. I hear the music, I run. But that's beside the point.
It's certainly unique.
It's a unique show. We saw some of it there. She kept herself busy. You know what I mean? I mean, when you look at some of the stuff that she did, she didn't do as much as she could have because she lived such a short life. In 1999, Doherty revealed that she had been diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So she had other things besides breast cancer. She was diagnosed in 2015 with breast cancer, which spread to her lymph nodes. Anybody that knows that situation, if it spreads to your lymph nodes, you're in trouble. Sometimes it doesn't, and that saves these people, these ladies, from any type of situation. She revealed she had been receiving anti-estrogen treatment to shrink the tumor and enable treatment by a lumpectomy rather than mastectomy. You start all this stuff, it can't be long. I mean, this is just unnatural stuff, and it's very
such a shame.
It is a shame. Okay. On February 4th, 2020, she announced that her cancer had returned and had advanced to stage 4, which is basically almost, so long, everybody. And then the final blow came. She revealed that the cancer had spread to her bones. So that was that. And she tried some radical treatments called the blood-brain barrier, calling it a miracle that kept her alive for a while. But She died from cancer in her home in California at age 53. So, you know, I just want to say that she had one heck of a short life. She had somewhat of a tempestuous life. It's sort of interesting tonight. We had Richard Simmons on earlier. There's a police investigation. You know, you never heard about any of that. Then with Shannen Doherty, I got to be honest with you, I never heard about all these problems. I didn't follow her closely, but I'll tell you what, not a good thing. Let me see if I could find one more nugget here.
I'll tell you one thing though, Mike. My favorite, I mean, Heathers is one of my favorite things that she's in. If you've ever seen that from the late '80s.
What's it about?
It's hard to describe. It's
oh really?
It's kind of like a black comedy. You know, Winona Ryder's in it with Christian Slater. It's about teenage girls.
Oh, okay.
And suicides and staging their deaths and craziness. But it's a wild movie. It's kind of a cult classic.
And she was good in it.
Yeah.
And they had another good star, Winona Ryder. They had some big stars in that.
Christian Slater, two big names. Yeah.
Christian Slater, no doubt about it. So to Shannen Doherty, I just want to say it was a pleasure to meet you that one time. It's a pleasure to talk to you. It was cool that you talked to everybody. You weren't a snob. You had shopping bags around you. Nobody messed with them. I thought it was cool. I don't even know if she was with anybody. I'm trying to remember if she was with another young lady. I think she was, but she was doing all the throwing. And everybody had a good time at Caesar's Palace that night because she was laughing, having fun. And I have condolences on her, the cast that knew her, and look at how sad this is, you know?
Yeah.
And look at how brave she is. So on behalf of us here at Somebody Big Just Died, we want to give her our condolences. So to Shannen Doherty, 5 pair of hands up for you, girl. Now, Joe, we're not done. We had to make some decisions earlier.
You're right.
And as hard as it was, I sort of liked her, but I wasn't sure if and let me get her up here now, Shelley Duvall.
According to Wikipedia, Shelley Alexis Duvall was an American actress.
Who did very little. Who did very little. I looked at her. Now, I remember Shelley Duvall. She was discovered in her hometown of Texas. She was born July 7th, 1949, died July 11th, 2024. She did some movies. She was a really different looking lady, no doubt about it. Very thin. She died at 75. She died of diabetes. And usually they don't tell you what they die of anymore. Simmons.
That's true.
Richard Simmons, natural causes, but we're going to call the cops. You know, Shannen Doherty, breast cancer. And now we have this young lady of diabetes. She was only married for 4 years, from 70 to 74. She was 5'8", but she was in The Shining.
One of the classics of all time. I mean,
well, the thing about her is she's sort of like John Cassell, who played Fredo in The Godfather.
Yeah.
She's in very few movies, but every movie she's in, like John Cassell.
They're all awesome.
Godfather 2. He was in Dog Day Afternoon. I mean, he was in some great flicks. He was in The Deer Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
He was in 5 movies, and they all were up for Academy Awards. The Conversation, The Deer Hunter, Godfather 2, and Dog Day Afternoon. Just 5 movies. Well, the same thing goes for her. I looked at her filmography earlier. Yes, because I do research this show. But we had so much stuff to do tonight.
There's a lot of homework for this one, Mike.
Yeah. The Shining, Popeye, Fairy Tale Theater, Room 237, Annie Hall, she was good in. Brewster McCloud, not bad. Nashville, Time Bandits, and Thieves Like Us. So we have a picture of Shelley that we could flash up there again. Look at her. Condolences to the family of Shelley Duvall. And last but not least, another honorable mention tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Joe loves the way I'm handling this tonight. He can't believe it.
And after this one, Mike, I got one more surprise for you, too, we'll talk about.
About Dr. Ruth? Or about
not Dr. Ruth, something else that died.
Uh-oh. Hope it wasn't a goldfish. Anyway, Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Let's see what they say about her. Dr. Ruth Westheimer.
I'm not gonna lie, Mike. When you told me about her, I didn't know who she was. I was at my in-laws for dinner tonight, and I told them that we were gonna mention her, and they said, "Oh no, Dr. Ruth died." I'm like, "Oh, you guys know who she is."
Oh yeah, here's a woman that was huge as far as.
According to Wikipedia,
Let me find
Shelley
this. I'm having a little trouble here with my computer.
No, it's all good. I know
That's
she's
all right. Dr. Ruth Westheimer.
a polarizing figure after doing a little bit of homework on her.
Oh yeah, because first of all, I had trouble listening to a person who the last time had sex was probably in a covered wagon, okay, or in a stagecoach. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just weird, but she was nice. And she was one of those I was talking about earlier. You flip around, you see her, you'll watch 2 minutes, and I'm getting out of here. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Born in 1928 in Germany, 1924. She lived to be 96. And she died in New York City. She had tips for a happy life. She was just a comfort to listen to. But she wasn't big enough to have somebody big just died. Now, if it would have been like 10, 15 years earlier, and look at Plank. He says, I wasn't aware she had passed until tonight. She was big. This is why we have this show, because people, they put little blurbs in. Both Shelley Duvall, she dies in the 80s or 90s, which I'm glad she knows that she didn't, or Dr. Ruth, they were just gone for too long after that. Shannen Doherty still fresh in everybody's mind, and Richard Simmons, for God's sake. So that's
right.
How sometimes you have to make the cuts. You have to make a tough cut. But I want to wish Dr. Ruth nothing but the best. She basically did explain a lot of things to people that thought they knew what they were doing. I mean, when we were kids, we didn't have anybody tell us anything.
She normalized sex talk, really.
Right. I go, Dad, the birds and the bees. Go to the park. You'll meet somebody. You know, just stuff like that. You know, the parents back then, they didn't sit you down and go, here's what's going to happen. Well, that's why you have Ann Landers. That's why back in the day you had Dear Abby. That's why you have Dr. Ruth. That's why you have all these people. Because, believe me, you don't know what the hell's going on when you're, well, now you do probably with all the internet stuff. I mean, I can't even believe it now. I mean, Dr. Ruth wouldn't even be pertinent now with all the internet stuff. I mean, you could, the pornography, you could be a 14. I mean, I used to search for Playboys when I was a kid through the
actual magazine. Yeah.
The magazine, they'd be bundled. People would throw them out. So me and my buddies would go through. I know if I would search through alleys for Playboy, I would have figured out how to get Pornhub when I was 12, 13 years old. I can promise you that. And that's what's hurting these kids now.
It's too easy now, man.
It's too easy. It's too easy. And you know what? It takes away your curiosity. It takes away. I mean, you know, you can watch, if you're a 15-year-old kid, I hate to say it, you can watch porn and rub one off and then say, I'm going to sleep in for the night.
Sure. I mean,
back then you had to have a highlight reel in your head if you wanted to do that. Forget about it, you know? But that's the way it is now. And then I read today where 70% of the single guys don't even care if they date or not. I mean, things have changed.
It's a wild world, Mike.
Huh?
It's a wild world we live in.
Yeah, you got that right. Anyway, Dr. Ruth, our condolences to you and your family. Honorable mention. All right, Joe, you said you had something for me.
I do. You talked a little bit about Las Vegas earlier, and I would be remiss if we didn't mention.
You went, right?
I went about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
But what I wanted to bring up today is it's the last day of operation for the Mirage in Las Vegas. It closes its doors today. So I just wanted to make a point to give condolences to the Mirage, awesome. One of the most classic properties in the history of Las Vegas. It kind of revolutionized the Strip.
It changed everything. You went from the ranch style Frontier motel, the Frontier Casino, the Tropicana, places like that. But they all used to be. There used to be ranch style hotels there, and you could go out your back door and there'd be desert. You wouldn't even see buildings. Okay.
Yep.
And that's when the Mirage came in, and now and Steve Wynn came in, and the biggest thing was the tigers inside. You go see the snow tigers.
Siegfried and Roy, man.
And absolutely. And then they had was it them that had the volcano too, I think, wasn't it?
They had the volcanoes. Last day of operation was last night. Yep.
Yeah, it's sad. But you know what? They'll build something else there that will be even
Well, the
bigger.
Hard Rock Casino bought them, and they're going to be building like a guitar-shaped hotel in the spot. But the Mirage was just classic, man.
It was. It was after original Vegas. It became like a step up from original Vegas. So,
Kind of set the tone for all those mega resorts.
and what do? We set the tone for people that drop. We set the tone for people that start digging the grave. Yeah, is there a bounty on these people's heads? We get paid for each one. We could have taken 4, but we don't want to take advantage. We had to pick 2, and we picked the right ones tonight. So, on behalf of Cumberland Chapels, Pennyville Station, Joe Mandel, and yours truly, Mike North, hey, somebody big just died. There was a crowded room tonight. There was no time. There was no party in a phone booth. We needed a banquet room for this one. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.